Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast, adding games both new and old to your backlog, one slightly inappropriate episode at a time. My name is Christian, and quippy, oopsie, nothing from me today. And joining me today is Amanda.
There's a new mayor in town, and you know what? I just added this to my quip. It seems like in our city, we've got a new menace.
A new
Christian,
menace?
without the quip. Yep.
Get out of town. You're banned. You're banned. Okay. This week, we're going to be talking about Town to City and Menace. But first, Amanda. Holy, 30 years on the bumper there? What's new?
So that's why you got to sometimes call it the Menace. You know, you're
Menace.
just adding a little bit of flavor to that, right? It's got to take time to cook. But anyway, what's new with me is I read a very fascinating article that kind of made me thinking a lot about things. PC Gamer came up with this article talking about how Embark Studios CEO, the people that made Arc Raiders, revealed that a neurology professor has been encouraging them to submit the game for scientific studies of checking out the psyche of the player base, which I thought was I thought that was really, really fascinating. And I kind of can see where they're getting at. And I feel like a little bit of this ties into your thing that you're bringing up too, because I feel like on one hand, especially the scientist in me, thinks that it's an amazing inquiry and it would be so cool. And I do feel like Arc Raiders is actually a wonderful study group for this, because I've put in so many hours into that game and I've had the most range of experiences, from like super friendly people to like Tarkov assholes. I'm reading all these different stories, and this is a game like some other games, like maybe Rust, that you know, you just have
the breadth of human experiences on display proudly.
10,000%, because I always read these funny stories that sound like, bro, did that really happen? Or, you know what I mean? Like, there's always these, it's like somebody sitting at a campfire and is like, let me tell you a story about my time in Stella Montes, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's some crazy behavior. So, like, they were talking, just even the, author of this article was saying that some of the behavior they've witnessed in Arc Raiders is astounding for like various regions. It's covered a lot of regions as well, but they've like
but I think we know the Russians are the worst. Sorry, just based on my experience. Yeah. And Emilio, former caster, did have this theory that the Russians ruin every video game. The multiplayer video game. I don't know if you're a Russian listening to this. I'm sorry. Maybe you're not all bad, but you have quite the reputation online for showing up to lobbies and just doing crazy shit.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Nikita has done an amazing job with Tarkov. It's never been known as a toxic place. I don't know what you mean. Right. No, that's sarcasm. Anyway. So, like, with some of the behavior they witnessed in Arc Raiders, it's like some wild player in Stella Montes running around with a pickaxe begging to duel people to death. And then when he gets killed, he just keeps crying. Apparently, there was a map that was turned into a death maze where players on the map got together to create 65 door barricades, 13 deployable barricades, and then 3 joint mines. And they called themselves the Engineer of Chaos. And they just had all these people go into a maze and die. And I've had so many people like role play things. I've had people coming around, like when they did the cold snap, there were people running around singing Christmas carols to each other. This game has such a wide range of experiences that I think it would be really cool for a scientific study. But then part of me is also like, what are you going to use that for then? Right? Like, on one hand, it's cool to know, like, maybe the why, but then what they do with the knowledge that they find is what concerns me. I wouldn't want people to be like, oh, well, we've cracked the code of what makes a gamer think, and now we can sell them our highly, like, you know what I mean? But it did get me thinking, like, what type of games can you think of, or any of our listeners can think of, that would actually be a pretty solid, accurate testing pool for like the way gamers think? Is there a difference, or are we all just people, right? And like enjoy games? I don't know.
I think we're all just people who enjoy games, man. I don't know. Like, what I find cool about Arc Raiders, and I haven't read the article, but what I imagine is going to be the point of focus is how hostile are people in an environment where they don't have to be? And why do some people make the decision to be hostile to other players? And on the flip side of that, how magical is it that you can kill someone, and in a lot of matches you flick your flashlight or you say something over comms and nobody fucks with you for like the whole match. And I know that they have like the bucketing of certain types of players. They group them in those servers, so you're more likely to play with friendly players if you're friendly. But I suspect that might be the focus, and I think that is fascinating because you'll never get the structure of the game creates that. You'll never get like an Age of Empires game where like the people don't fight, right? Like that's the whole, you'll never get a chess match that doesn't end in someone winning. Like the game is designed to be antagonistic, and it's cool that there's a space where, you know, there's a really popular shooter and actually you can play it and not kill other players. That's cool to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole point of like what the neurologist was saying is that because the way that they designed the game, it has created such a range of choose your own adventure in a shooter, which is really unique, like kind of what you were saying. They weren't really focusing on like the hostility part of it, but just the sandboxness in a way of the human experience and kind of what you can deal with. And they weren't even like touching on they call it like the rats of these days where like the person's really nice to you and then shoots you in the back at the end. But like that also would be an interesting part of a psychological study of how many people are opportunistic like that. But I don't know. I feel like you could, maybe you wouldn't get as great of data, but you could achieve something like this in a game that's maybe like Rust. Or like a crafting survival that has PvP allowed, I think. But I do think that you need to have the availability of the hostility. And if there isn't the availability of the hostility, then it would be a really difficult thing. Or a game that wouldn't allow you passive, like you just said with Age of Empires. Like you have to fight each other. You know what I mean? You can't play Dune and
you're in the
Imperium
gladiatorial
and
ring.
not go. Yeah, like you're not gonna. Yeah, you're not just be. I'm gonna be super passive for Dune Imperium, guys. I'm not gonna fight anybody. Everybody can have.
That's
spice.
like that Monopoly joke where it's like, you know, if nobody Monopoly buys a property, everyone just gets rich and passes go. Like no one has to get bankrupt, but that's not what we're in it for, right? We're in to see other people cry. We're in
I'm glad that they said in this article that like this, you know, it's kind of like a pipe dream. Like it isn't really going to be, they're not really going to get an in-depth look into the psyche of an Arc Raiders player anytime soon, which is good because I kind of feel like that's a little weird when it comes to like privacy and dancing that line again against like, we don't really want to be doxxed in a lot of ways, or like we don't want all of our information out there. Like there is a lot of freedom to like, I just want to play a video game.
Tracked. It's weird to be always tracked. And if you're playing a video game, a multiplayer video game by a big studio, you're being tracked. Your behaviors are definitely being tracked and they're ending up in some spreadsheet. And that's not the only place your behaviors are going to be tracked, because Discord says the vast majority of users won't see its new age verification setup. And how they are doing this is an AI model to guess your age. So presumably, this is from an article on The Verge, they're going over your history of using Discord, when you signed up, what you send people, how you talk, when you talk. And if they infer from that data that you are a teen, they're going to ask you to upload your ID to either prove that you're not or to prove that you are. And so I think I'm of two minds on this, because on one hand, I think social media should be age restricted. There's really weird communities on Discord, like truly horror shit that's going on Discord that Discord is facilitating. And you could easily find yourself there through just one link from someone else on the internet, right? Like it's not the most difficult thing to find yourself in. And so I think, you know, there's an argument to be made that, teens shouldn't be exposed to those sorts of spaces, you know, just like you wouldn't let them into a bar, you wouldn't let them into a club. Online is a space that people go, and we should treat it like it is a space that people go. On the other hand, setting my ID to Discord is privacy concern just for me, you know, like if they determine I'm not a teen, because I don't know what teens are doing, but whatever my activity is, still that they're running this in the background and that they're holding this data, even though they say that it's a third party that's holding it, you know, it's just full of concern. So I think zooming out into the bigger picture, you know, it's not just Discord. Everyone says your phone listens to you. It's not just your phones, right? I was watching this video the other day about how those new soda machines work, Amanda. Have you seen that?
No.
No. So you know the soda machines where you manually pick like Coke, Fanta, and it's like a touch screen and it's like a, like a huge unit.
Yeah.
It's like glowing.
I always think of them as like the pop machines at a movie theater, usually. I see them the most at movie theaters.
Yeah. So what they're doing with the touchscreen, and if you look closely, a lot of them have a little tiny hole, and that's a camera, and it's watching how you interact with the device, where you hesitate to put your drinks in, what mixture you choose, all sorts of data, your geography, your geographical data, the age of your face. And then with that data, they send that to advertisers and they say, look, in this region, people like this sort of drink, they're this age, they go back for refills, all sorts of data that they get from the soda machine, right? So literally everything in the world these days is designed to target you as an advertisement. And Discord also does this. And people, I think, are just sort of coming to realize that that's the case with this age verification thing. But to be probably frank and fair, likely that they've been doing this for a while, tracking everything you do and having a database for advertisers. There's this great video essay called "The Internet Used to Be a Place," which I know you also watched, Amanda. It's by Sarah Davis Baker, and it basically makes the case that everything is so streamlined and everything is so catered towards advertising that there's no real cool space on the internet to explore and experiment and just do things that aren't for a side hustle, aren't for money, just making weird shit like on GeoCities or Nexopia if you're Canadian. That we've lost a lot of that charm. It's all about the algorithm. It's stuff being served to you. There's not a lot of exploration of the internet anymore. And what I'm saying is, should DLG start a newsletter and a forum? Should we go back in time and should we have that as a part of our community? Because I also feel this just general dissatisfaction with the internet at large, and I want it to be a cool place, right? So, yeah, I mean, I've said a lot and I've talked a lot, Amanda, and nothing. What are you thinking?
Well, I feel like the internet used to be a cool place. The video that you sent was so good and touched on a lot of things, and especially nostalgia. But honestly, I would make the argument that those little islands, safe havens of paradise, still exist. They probably exist in like fan fiction forums that are hidden deep on like page 12 of your Google search. So, but like they're out there and they're still there, and there's definitely constant like things moving. But you're right, there is like a high level complexity that so much of it boils down to trying to match the algorithm, so that way then people like us could quit our jobs and just do this full time.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's a reason why that's happening, right? Because that's what we want. Like, that's how we behave more accurately. Yeah.
Which is sad, but I still feel like there's lots of opportunities. And that's part of what's conflicting about Discord, is because for the longest time, I don't feel like this is super brand new of like Discord listening and paying attention and adding this new layer. I do feel like this is like a new layer of doxing in a sense from Discord, though, with this new thing rolling out of the age verification. Well, just in the sense that like I gotta send you my government like picture, or you're gonna analyze my face like to prove. I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me what they're doing. And additionally, too, a new thing came out as well that if you're located in the UK, you might be a part of an experiment where your information is going to be processed by another vendor persona, which is different than the initial one that they've talked to. So like I just feel like it feels gross. But going back to the internet used to be a place, I mean, I think that it would be awesome to have a newsletter and a forum, but I've been seeing like big movements, especially in like Seattle, where people are going back. They're making their own magazines. They're going offline for a lot of things now. So I do think that we are having this adjustment and this momentum. It's just different. And it's tough for, I think, a lot of us that got the pleasure to grow up with Neopets and Homestar Runner and Flash games on a website and forums and waiting forever for the AOL internet to connect while listening to just a robot. That was a horrible sound of dial-up, but you guys know what dial-up sounded like connecting to the internet. And so, those were special times, but I think it's very easy too to look back on that nostalgia of simpler times, but also too, we were kids, so it's simpler then too. We don't truthfully know what kind of the full extent maybe of the kind of underground things that are there because there's so much shit to sift through to get to it. And that's the hard part, is that it just takes so much more effort. But I think it's still there. And this is all just to say I would love a newsletter and a forum for DLG. And so if anybody's listening and wants to do it, don't threaten us with a good time. We'll do it. We'll make a forum and a newsletter.
If you want a newsletter and a forum, if you want to find us and just, this is my 10 minutes where I join this community of a podcast that I listen to. And I'm purposefully doing this, not because it shows up in my algorithm or because I get a notification on Discord, but because I genuinely just want to interact with people. And I don't need any tricks or hooks to do it. Leave a comment on this episode. And if we get enough, we'll set it up, because that's kind of the internet I want to see come back a little bit stronger. Anyways, enough pontificating about this. Next up, Amanda, what did you play this week?
I played Town to City. I had mentioned it briefly kind of in the last episode and was like, I really need to revisit it. And Valentine's Day is coming up. It's, we're actually recording Friday, the day before Valentine's Day, Friday the 13th. Spooky. But the spooky day before the Valentine's Day. That's what it is. But so I figured, you know what? I'm going to boot up a new campaign on Town to City. I'm going to make it all about love. Everything's going to be red and hearts. And I made an entire town of roses. There's roses everywhere. My streets are lined with roses. Everybody's house is red with roses
Amanda,
everywhere.
I know there's roses, but what is this game? Why is there so many roses?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm getting so ahead of myself. I love this. So this game's great. It's a very voxel graphic, cozy city builder with there's a bit of a story. You're basically a mayor. You can walk around with your people. Your people have these demands. They have these requests. And it feels like this very interconnected community between you and the people that live in your city. When you have newcomers, there's a high chance that they're going to have a preference. They might want to live next to a body of water. They might want to live like in the plaza. I've gotten plenty of people that have been like, I want to move as far away from people as possible. And then other people that have been like, I want to be in the center of where everybody else lives.
And so when I played this game, what was fascinating to me was, like in real life, people moving to another city and they say, I specifically know Jason Adams who lives on 2nd Street and 4th Ave, and I need a house by fucking Jason Adams or I'm not even entertaining the idea of staying here for long. And so I love that little bit. Like, if you're a small town mayor in this sort of era of making cities, you're like, yes, I will make sure there's a spot beside Jason Adams on 2nd Street and 4th.
It's so great. There's that's why there's like the story, because there's all these little quests. The quests are done by all the little side quests of the people that live there. Like, there's been people that are like, I'm really scared of ghosts. Can you build a gravestone, because I believe that then that ghost can go lay to rest. So then the game gives you a gravestone, which then I went, cool, I'm going to build an entire graveyard. And then I used all these Halloween decorations to make it like the spooky neighborhood in my town. And
this is like a Zen garden game. It's one of the most relaxing games I've ever played. It's one of the most flowiest, stadiest games, if you listen to the last episode, that I've ever played. The execution of Town to City is just the best, I think, for this type of city builder, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like this game is a masterclass in like cozy city building. It's a masterclass in it. Side note, I actually hate voxel graphics. I think it's the worst graphics out there. Like, don't try and convince me to play Minecraft. I won't. But I make an exception and find this game
You hate 4 things: Gloomhaven, voxel graphics. Sorry, that joke is for black. It's tired. It's over. Okay.
Again, I'm just passionate, so I guess I shouldn't say hate, but I strongly dislike voxel. No, voxel graphic. I don't know what it is about it. don't like voxel graphics, but this game does it, I think, actually very well. And I think a lot of it is because I like details. I like the detail, and this game is so incredibly detailed, even though the graphics are not. But I would argue that for voxel graphics, it's actually still detailed. Like when you're looking at a house, you're looking at a house, like every pixel they've taken such care to place things where they should be, where they're not, and then giving you variety to where you can change it up so that way you can match it to how you want your stuff to be aesthetically pleasing. I had a kid in my town that was like, I really want to go into a maze. So they gave me all these hedges and I created this really cool arrow, awesome design maze that was through 2 mountains to connect to another part of the city. Cause I was like, fuck yeah. Yeah. So
and you're gonna get a maze,
beautiful,
boy.
So you're gonna get a maze, and it's gonna connect you to the next part where all the.
What blew my mind was when people were requesting decorations on those little side quests. I was like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'm kind of used to it. Like, I placed the street lamp or whatever. I placed the seat, and then if you hover over the houses, you can place stuff on the houses themselves. And then I was like, with the level of detail you were talking about with the pixels, like. They've taken the idea of a Zen garden, which is a square that you painstakingly craft with a little rake and put little rocks in, and you put every little detail to your liking and it relaxes you. They've taken that to the extreme where like you can literally customize and make your vision come to life on every single structure that you build in the game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's maybe like a small thing. Or people are like, oh, what's the difference? You put a decoration on a fucking building or on the street. No, dude, that's groundbreaking.
No, it's awesome because it allows you to truly curate like what kind of town and neighborhoods and vibe you wanted to create. You can create entirely distinct neighborhoods. And then what's really amazing in this game too is that there is a like free form mode, a free walk mode, where you as the mayor go into first person view, and now you are walking along with your subjects and people are waving at you, and like you can literally walk like you're living there, and you really get to see those details that you put in like come to life and feeling like a totally different game, which is so cool. But I found myself with this game, I found myself like restarting this campaign like 3 or 4 times because I needed my place to be perfect.
Of course.
And so it's ironic that it's like super flowy of a game and really Zen garden, and yet I still found a way to stress out about it.
Because you unlock further things and you're like, oh, now that I've unlocked this, that means that I can put this here. And if I put that there, that would be more beautiful. Well, I might as well just restart knowing that I can build that later.
Exactly.
That's exactly.
And a campaign, I think, is actually a better way to go about it than sandbox, because a lot of times with these type of city builder games, I'm almost like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. Let me just go into sandbox mode so I can just build and do whatever I want. But you end up, I feel, becoming so constrained by money that it takes a lot longer. Whereas when you're in campaign mode, you're unlocking quests, and as you're unlocking things, they're giving you more money. So you're actually like at a faster pace being able to get to where you want. But now I was like, okay, I need to keep in my mind, in the back of my head, this big, huge circle around my pond that is Plaza, landscape, Plaza Road. I have a vision for this, but I can't do anything about it for like days because I don't have the money for it yet. Totally, and I know it's coming, but it's gonna come. And so I love this game. I feel like anytime I need to relax and calm down, I'm gonna go back to my beautiful little rose garden. I'm gonna tend all my roses and everybody in their red houses wearing all red, even, and add a lot more charm to it. Because each neighborhood, each city, I have a vision and a plan for them. And it's just so cute because you're right. Like there was somebody that came in and was like, oh, I love the smell of baked bread. I really need to move to next to a bakery. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we can make that happen. And then there's just like, you have farmers, and then you get up to artisans. So then people can be carpenters and pottery and like make all these like higher end and higher tier things. And it's great.
It's mechanically fairly simple. And yet because of the mix of the Zen garden and the logistics sim, I just feel like it's a perfect game. There's really not much to say. Like
it's a masterclass.
Factorio and even City Skylines and a lot of other city builders are far more mechanically complex, but this game isn't simple. I wouldn't call it simple. It's just perfect.
No, it's so balanced because there's taxes and there's a whole economic things. You can start essentially sending things from one town you have to another. Like there's one town, what is it, like Fontblanc, I think. Fontblanc.
Fonteblanc.
This game is also quite French. So, but there's like one town or one land that you unlock in the campaign that is basically all for farming, and you can send your farmed goods to your first town as it develops into a city and start having things build up there, which is like really cool that you can kind of have somewhat of this trade system. It isn't super complex, but it adds definitely a much more complexity than you would expect from such a cozy city builder. So I agree. I think it's perfect. Yeah. But I have a burning question for you, Christian. So if you were living in my Rose Town, what job would you want? And like, what would you want your house to be like? Like, what would be your requirement if you moved in and you were like, I need to live next to Jason on 2nd Street, like that?
Right. So as a teenager, I always lived in Yellowville. And when I heard about Rosetown the first time, it was in a magazine clipping, an advertisement. Come move to Rosetown. You'll never smell a bad day. And I really, because I smelled a lot of bad days in Yellowville, honestly. And so
I'd imagine
when I hopped on the train to Rosetown, I had in my mind that how can I contribute to the natural beauty of this place and its smell, and I'm actually I trimmed the little thorns off the roses in the children's playground area.
Okay.
So I'm what they call a safety tech level 2. And so I go around with my shears and I just make sure that the thorns aren't hitting the kids, because they say smell the roses, but they don't warn you that every rose has its thorn, right?
That's true. Unless you
listen to that song by Poison, then you know. But yeah.
Hey, great things come with a little bit of sacrifice, it's the blood sacrifice for so much red. Anyway, so that got a little dark. Yeah, I would move you probably right next to the park. Yeah, you'd be probably living right by the park.
I want the walkability to my job. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, that's fun. Thank you for asking me such a fun question.
And anybody
fuck
listening,
Yellowville, by the way, fuck Yellowville. Yeah.
Honestly, you wouldn't want to be in Yellowville when it snows either, because then you don't know which snow to pack, dude. They're all yellow. You don't want to touch any of that snow.
Yeah. That's just
make
gross.
a yellow snowman. Ew.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
But any listener, I want to know from my listeners, if you were to move to Rosetown, what job do you guys want? Where do you want to live in Rosetown?
Nice.
I'm bringing the community to Rosetown. But anyway, I'm not a menace. I'm just a mayor. And so, speaking of that, dude, what did you played Menace?
I'm just a mayor. I'm just a mayor. Oh boy, I'm just a mayor. I played Menace.
I guess you could be both.
There are bad mayors. Mr. Burns, he's the mayor, right?
Oh, yeah, he's a menace.
Is he the owner of the... Oh. Is he the mayor? Is he the
I don't
mayor
think he's...
too?
I don't
and the
think
owner of the nuclear plant?
All right, I'm going to break our rule. I'm going to look
There's some oligarchy bullshit happening in... Where did the Simpsons live? This reference is horrible. Anyways,
Springville. Springville, yeah.
Springville? I don't think that's quite right. Is it Springville? It's Springfield.
Springfield, that's right. Yeah. Oh, no, Mr. Burns is just the owner of the nuclear power plant. Okay. He's just the boss. Yeah.
He's just the boss. Okay. Then he's not a menace mayor, but close enough.
The menace boss.
I played Menace, everyone. It is a hardcore turn-based tactical RPG where you fight pirates, bugs, and spoiler alert, a faction called Menace in all caps. Yeah, you didn't see that coming, and sorry, spoilers. Specific loadouts and equipment matter in this game. So do I take a rifle grenade gun, which is worth 50 supply, or do I fill each of my squads with 2 more people? I'm making trade-off decisions of what I think will be most effective for the mission, and that is where I think that's an element of the game that comes together really strongly, is what equipment do I outfit my squad with, and what are the trade-off choices I'm going to bet on based on what I know about the mission ahead, which sometimes isn't a lot. And how will that play out when I'm actually in the mission? These are all very satisfying loops for this game. So right away, the game hits you with a lot of terms to learn. I don't know if you've ever played a game like this, Amanda, where it's like so in universe that you're like, I don't know what's going on. and I'm just going to throw these terms to you. What do you think of when I say the de-straightening incident? DIS straightening incident. The de-straightening incident.
I would almost make that synonymous with like feeling
queer.
No. No, and of course, as soon as I went to say my brain had a de-straightening incident where it just completely veered off course and wasn't what I was thinking of with the plan. You know, I was going to say discombobulating. It was a discombobulating experience. I would make that a synonym to de-straightening incident.
So Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now everyone has arms for legs and legs for arms. That's the type of, okay, cool. What about the era of estrangement? Capitalized, by the way, as like a period of history I should know playing Menace.
That reminds me of like The Witcher and the time of contempt, you know, or contempt, I guess. Like, so like it's a time in history where, you know, maybe a faction or the team were one, they were buddies, they were on the same side, and now they've become estranged. They don't trust each other anymore. They don't want to talk to each other anymore. They're having lots of miscommunications. I shot your boy. No, you shot mine. Like kind of thing, you know? So an era of estrangement. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think a full ace graduate is?
I feel like that's, you know what that is? Somebody that has graduated at the top of their class that you were always expecting to do really good.
Oh, got it. And how about this last one? Due to the planetary jingle-wee.
Oh, yeah. No fucking clue.
I got it. I was reading the bios of the squaddies I could add to, you know, my initial selection, and I'm like, I don't know anything about these people. First of all, they're from times I don't understand. They've gone through experiences I have no context of, and these are just maybe like the best of the best or the most confusing. But it's full of stuff that I have I'm like, is that anything? Is there like a wiki?
Reaching for your dictionary, like?
I was Googling a Menace Wikipedia, which, by the way, I don't know who's editing this thing. You got to get on your game because none of these terms are added, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways,
I need to know what a jingle-way is.
I will not die happy until I know what a jingle-wee is. And maybe if I play enough Menace, I'll just figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
Okay. So not only does that hit you with these terms, Amanda, but the squad leaders are characters you pick, like an XCOM, for example, or BattleTech, but they lead a squad of actual people, right? So you have like in the old Call of Duty games, every specific unit has a name. So your squad leader is in that unit and you can see them. You're like, oh, cool. But then around them are all these other characters that all look different and they all have a specific name. And after each mission, you can see their kills, how many missions they've survived. And so when you lose people, what I found is like, no, dude, are you coolers? I lost fucking coolers on that grenade throw. Are you kidding? Are you fucking coolers has been with me since the beginning. And I know he took a rest last mission, but I put him in this one. And coolers doesn't have any stats except for kills and missions survived. And yet I actually feel sad when I lose units. And it reminds me of those old Call of Duty games, like there'd be people going past you getting mowed down and you'd be like, oh, all these people have names and I don't know. I don't want to make it like
there's somebody's brother, Christian, somebody's mother, somebody's child.
Well, as a kid, I was playing that and what I came away with was this game is fun. I like shooting things, but also war is not cool, dude. And I think with the newer Call of Duty games, we're in Battlefield and all the rest of it. We're sort of like glorifying war, honestly. And I like this. Everyone in the world does have a name. Everyone does matter, right? And not I know this is like philosophical for the game Menace, but like I love that they added that. And it's more than just an emotional loss. Like BattleTech, you're taking these squad leaders and the squaddies, I guess, themselves through so many missions and you're leveling them up carefully. You're giving them the equipment that you want so that they can succeed. It plays to their talents. You're getting to know these people, right? And boom, fucking vaporized across the screen with a laser truck. And it's over. They're dead forever, by the way. Congrats. And it's like, That sucks.
Yeah. I was watching somebody play this earlier, and like is her name Riva? I think she's
Yes.
there's the late there's the
Like the
lady with
Black
with
Aces.
the
She's the full ace
yeah.
graduate. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, that checks out. Whatever that means. But she was driving the vehicle, and like the guy rammed into a bug and it blew up the vehicle, and she was like going to die if he didn't fix her. And like everybody in the chat and him, they were like, dude, you have to get her. You have to they're like, fuck the car. Nobody cares about the car. But you
Yeah.
have to get her. You can't leave her be.
You can't
and like
get
the
a new
guy,
car, but you can't get a new Reva.
yeah.
You can't,
It's
sorry, you
so
can't.
they finally brought her to like the evacuation site, and the streamer was like straight up like, I got her, right? Like she's safe, right? Like I don't know. And he was like genuinely really upset, like thinking that she might have died. And I'm like, yeah,
Dude.
this is solid. When you are putting this much attention and care into your squad, into your groups, these aren't just some like low level pawns that you're like, whatever, they can just die. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, these are your heroes. And so yeah, dude, that's
And
cool.
it's that they're gone forever if they're gone. Like the punishment is so severe, you have to care. But also the attention has been put into, just the storytelling and the world that, you feel like connected to these people. You've taken them on every single mission. BattleTech did a phenomenal job of this. Probably even a better job than Menace, but it's the same thing. And by the way, both these games are spelled with all capitals. Menace and BattleTech. And anytime I see a full capitalized game on Steam, I'm going to care about every single person who dies. That's what I've learned from Menace. So I love this game. I love it a lot. It's a fantastic game. It's an early access. It's definitely worth your time to pick up. I really can't recommend it enough. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. That's
good to know. Yeah, it's from what I was gathering, like it was reminding me so much in a way of, well, I guess it's really just like the aliens. It was giving Starship Troopers and Helldivers, but I feel like just even you talking about it kind of answered my own question of like, how serious is this game? It feels very serious, right?
Oh,
There's
totally.
there's no like kind of comedic moments or comedy in it. It's a very
no. There are some comedic moments that your characters that you pick can be funny. They often are funny, but the like the Menace faction is like these biomechanical horrors. I guess the pirates, when you played them, they sometimes say goofy things and be like, ha, 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 I gotcha. And you'll be like, okay, well, that's cool. But I don't know if it's intended to be funny. I just think they're whatever, that they're the first faction you face, so maybe they're the least serious, right?
Yeah.
But no, when they die, their organs go places and they explode and you can see their dead bodies, and I feel like that's nothing about that is funny. So
yeah, no, that's pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
Well, like speaking of bugs too, like were you experiencing like a lot of mechanical bugs and like just game bugs in general, since it's such a new game? Because like when I played the demo, I know that there were some instances where like straight up like I should have been able to move my troops there. It was highlighted, everything, like, and it just wasn't working. And even with watching the streamer today, they had a lot of times where they were like, was that a bug or is that intended? And so like I'm wondering if you have run into kind of any technical issues while playing.
So I don't think technical issues are interesting to talk about at all. Like, unless like that is the story of the game. Like I played the game and there was all these technical issues, then like, sure, maybe it's worth talking about. But like I had a couple moments where something happened where I was like, was that supposed to? But like the game is so good. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like it's an early access. I think they're going to fix the bugs. There's a lot of, balance issues, especially around the Menace faction itself. I think they tend to be just really strong and difficult to fight. But the developers know that. They've had the feedback. And so, yeah, I mean, bugs.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Oh, bugs happen. That's why you fight them and try and kill them with your squad. I feel that. Yeah. I just wasn't sure if it was something where like it is significant enough or if it's just a little here and there, But yeah, it sounds like it's just a little here and there. That's normal. Yeah.
Even if it was significant, I don't think I'd talk about it because then it wouldn't be a good game and I wouldn't want to talk about it anyways. If like bugs were, I don't know. I think the bugs conversation to me personally, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm just not going to talk about the game, because if the bugs are difficult enough that they're making me annoyed at the game, why would I want to bring it up ever? Right? Like, why would anyone want to play this shitty game that I play?
Well, I guess that kind of boils down to the question of like, do bugs, are they automatically just like a negative point to the game? Because like, to me, I have seen so many bugs. Yeah, I've seen so many bugs that are funny, or honestly, sometimes it could be part of the charm in a world, in a war where like shit is just weird, right? And that would be a bug. Like in real life, we have weird shit that happens sometimes. Maybe they're a bug of life, right?
Is it a bug or is it a feature? Totally.
Exactly.
No, and I completely agree with you. There's been some bugs where I think this added to my experience for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's just cool. I had a feeling that it's just maybe the timing of like my demo experience on top of watching a Twitch streamer actually hit a maybe one of those moments where I'm like, I don't know if this is a significant thing or not, but super happy to hear that Menace is pretty great.
Well, I say that, but then if a bug killed one of my characters, I would be very, this would be a different review. Probably.
Yeah,
totally.
So it sounds like minor, or maybe if they end up happening, it's just, war never changes. It's just weird shit, dude, right?
You say so. I don't know about that. That's crazy. Okay. Amanda, what do you want to play this week?
I want to play, I guess, speaking a little bit of war, but I want to play a game called Mugenics. We had mentioned at the top of the show in our little pre-show about Binding of Isaac. Well, the creators of that, I believe it's creators of that. If not, this is highly fucking Binding of Isaac coded.
Of course.
This is
Edmund McMillan, creator of Binding of Isaac, creator of Super Meat Boy. This is his game for sure. Yeah.
This is his game, and it is a turn-based strategy roguelike with cats and gore and wackiness. Of course, wackiness, but all about cats. It's so far rated really positive. It's got your classic Binding of Isaac coded or graphics. Sorry, it's kind of got a little mix to me that reminds me of like the South Park woodland creatures, which is just as like gory and kind of savage. I'm very excited that it's Steam Deck verified. I think that's the biggest excitement to me, is that this to me, when I was looking at it, I was like, this is a Steam Deck game. And I was so happy to see that it's verified. So I'm really looking forward to playing it. Especially because, maybe it's the Menace in the air, but I'm really feeling some tactical turn-based kind of gameplay. I'm really craving that. Yeah, I'm really craving that. Yeah. So like this might actually scratch that itch until Zero Company. But we'll see. It seems like it's got, I watched a trailer for it from the creators, and the humor I think is going to be really solid in this too. I'm feeling some funny. I'm feeling some funny strategy tactics, and I feel like Mugenics is going to do it.
Is it bad to say that the Star Wars Zero Company trailer focused so much on those characters that my impression of the game is, oh, these are the characters that I'm going to play, right? This is my crew. And I love Star Wars, and I like strategic and tactical games. And yet I could not be, after playing Menace, I'm like, oh, this is the bar, and I don't know if this other game is going to hit it. And so I just want to play a lot of Menace. I mean, I guess we'll see, but like, yeah.
We shall see. That almost makes me feel like I should play Menace a lot more too, and then just be able to have a true sci-fi tactical comparison. Yeah. That'd be wow, yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one.
We'll see. We'll see.
We will see. Yeah.
So the game I'm talking about, the game I want to play, is called Mining Merchant. Your uncle's once thriving jewelry shop is crumbling, and it's your job to bring it back to life. Through mining, obviously, because it's a mining game. You yearn for the mines. I know you do. That's why you play Minecraft. That's why you play a game about digging a hole. That's why, honestly, maybe I'm just going to guesstimate here. 30% of all games are about digging and mining. There is a human need to dig. I don't know where it came from. Maybe ancestrally, we needed to dig more.
The mines yearn.
Yes, they are yearned for and yearned of. That doesn't make any sense. There's this old Flash game called the Gold Miner Classic Edition, which I don't know. Everyone's played it at this point, right? It's like a hook that goes from left to right, and you press spacebar and you grab pieces of gold, and then you can upgrade how fast your hook goes and everything about the business simulator. Like you sell the gold and then you buy upgrades that help you get more gold. That's what I want. I want a game that's half a timing game. I just want to, when the red light flashes, I want to see how fast I press the space bar, like real instinctual base level amygdala bullshit. And then I want that with like a really satisfying business simulator on top. So that's what I would like of Mining Merchant. I believe it comes out next month sometime. So yeah, added to my list of games to play.
Nice.
Nice. Nice. What is our community up to? But first, executive producer Truthbringer, we're shouting you out again. Thank you so much for contributing to this podcast above the normal amount.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Truthbringer. Bringing the truth.
Nice.
How neat is that? That's neat.
How neat. That's neat. All right, Amanda, listener questions.
Yeah, we got a few. So we've got Bike King 8 has said a kind of more of a comment that I wanted to highlight. He said that they wanted to chime in about the Gloomhaven board game. It's a lot of pieces and initially intimidating, but very rewarding. There's a mechanic where you actually unlock new classes after certain scenarios are finished by physically unsealing envelopes with their info cards. And as with any large campaign, it can be an ongoing thing as players progress their characters, but without having somebody required to be a DM, which is great because then everybody gets to play. So there's also companion apps for it that can assist with combat calculations, character info, and also narration of the scenarios in case there's nobody in the group that is comfortable embellishing text out loud. That's super cool.
Hey, text us your Gloomhaven text. If you're out there and you don't want to embellish text, we'll do it. We'll voice act for your Gloomhaven game.
Yeah. We'd love to. Yeah, that'd be great. I do really hope that I get to
HP plus
it was
5
a dog.
mana. Sorry, am I doing it good?
No, I always envisioned it as, because it's a scenario, so it would be like, it was a dark and gloomy night in the mines.
That's great.
Right?
That's great.
Yeah.
You can do all the awesome stuff, and I will just do like the factual plus 3 poison damage.
and then you got to make the noise as somebody gets stabbed. Yeah.
I'm sick.
No, I really hope that I get the chance to play Gloomhaven at the board game. It's what inspired me to even get the digital version, but it's just booty. But the board game's probably better. Anyway, Warconius says GTA has deep PC roots and remains one of Steam's most played titles. But I think the real legacy of GTA 5 is its satirical writing. It's not just crime, it's commentary on tech culture, celebrity, politics, consumerism, all delivered with a dark Tarantino-style humor. Do you think any other open world games have managed to pull off that level of cultural satire, or is Rockstar still in a lane of its own? I personally feel like maybe not an open world game, but certain games kind of touch on things like, part of what makes me really interested in High on Life and High on Life 2 and playing that is that they do touch and have a huge cultural satire in a lot of their game, in both of their games, 1 and 2. And then I think Taylor has mentioned a bit too of like the Outer Worlds also is quite a big satire with these things. These aren't necessarily, I guess Oblivion's probably, or not Oblivion, Obsidian is kind of doing a little bit more of an open world satire with a few of their games. So maybe them, but I don't know on Rockstar's level. What do you think, Christian?
Brain empty, no thought. You said everything I was going to say. I would be like, oh, we've been talking a lot about Obsidian. Obsidian's on the mind. Maybe Fallout has a huge commentary on a huge cultural commentary. Why were the vaults made? What led us down this path? It's commentary on capitalism, on the rich, on even the survivors of the wasteland. They all have very like stereotypical ideologies, and so, but it's not on the level of. It's not as satirical. Well, it's satire. I don't know. Rockstar's on the nose, right? And then Fallout is like maybe a degree behind that somewhere. I mean, it's still goofy, but
I don't think Rockstar is in a lane of its own. I just think that it's the furthest along in the lane, because there's definitely quite a few other games that are hitting that satire. They're just not doing it on the kind of level and scope and hitting it so much on the nose like Rockstar is. But yeah.
I'm also not qualified in. So the last GTA I played was San Andreas. So I'm basically a fossil. I'm not to be trusted. Don't trust me for this question, or maybe anything. Next question.
No, next question from Nyanko says, he says, what are the most extreme genre merges in a game you can remember, or your favorites? Do you think players could get hooked to a genre they used to like if they experience it through a game that combines different genres? Can you tolerate many features getting introduced over the long run, each with their mini tutorial in a game as a service? Like when you like the game, or when you like the game and the features, he said that he's been playing Arknight's Enfield that mushes the whole open world ARPG with gacha gameplay together in a full automation factory gameplay. And those genres were pretty extreme opposite to him until a few weeks ago.
Okay. I need your help with this. Sorry, not you, Amanda. The person listening. Hey, you at work, on the bus, walking around. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking right into your ear. What's up? How's it going? I need your help. I played an RTS a long time ago that was half RTS and half first-person shooter, essentially, or like a mixture of Ninja Gaiden. Is it Gaiden or Gaiden? I should really figure that out. I'm on a podcast that talk about video games. I should know if it's Gaiden or Gaiden. Anyways, where it's like a hack and slash with combos and everything, but you zoom out and you're building walls and you're building a base, and it's an RTS, you're gathering resources and everything else. And you could embody these hero units or just normal units that would die really quickly and didn't have any of those sick powers. And I thought one of the greatest mashups and pretty different, like the hack and slash gameplay felt purposefully like a different game, at least when I played it in my child mind, right? So yeah, that's if you are out there and you also had this experience playing this game, let me know. You could like scale the walls, right, of your city. Like there was like a 3D range of motion to it. I feel like this game had no business being around, by the way. But very cool. Yeah.
It's cool. I think to me, the most recent ones that come to my mind, I don't know, would we consider Dispatch being like a mashup of a bunch of genres? Because the dispatching is totally one style. Then it's like basically a visual novel. And it's also like the hacking component is different.
Maybe they, my initial thought is to say no, but I think you're exactly right. Those are three separate games. Dispatch is just such a masterpiece that it feels like one game.
It's tough. Totally. Well, but that's the hard part is I would argue that when you play a game that beautifully merges completely different gameplay styles and does it so well that you don't care that it's merging all these game styles, then like, yeah, you would struggle to like really think, oh, that does count, right? I guess to me, like I also think of like Split Fiction might be another one. And the most recent one for me too is Quarantine Zone: The Last Check. When I played Quarantine Zone: The Last Check, it's like part management, part building up your base, part like a checking point kind of game of finding, you know,
I have the FPS in there too.
And then an FPS, and then there's drone striking and wave shooting. So it's like that was a whole mix as well. And they did such a good job of that. But again, they did such a good job that it kind of like it just made sense. You're like, yeah, if I'm in charge of the checkpoint, you would have all these hats that you would have to wear, which could be other genres of games. But I think Split Fiction, in my mind, really did the best job of kind of combining all of that, because in the course of that game, you are playing straight up like different camera point of views, different mechanics, different game with a different story, and it's like they mashed it all into one that was done, I think, so well. That was just really cool. But I don't know, I guess that's some of my favorites are the ones that I can remember that it did really well. But I don't know, I'd struggle to really enjoy a roguelike game, but I mean, we'll see with Mugenics.
Amanda hates 5 things. Spoiler alert. Amanda, I'm just joking. Okay. The plug this week. Comment on this episode. If you don't tell us about the job that you'd have in Amanda's Town Full of Roses in Town to City, if you don't tell us that you want a newsletter or a forum for this community and this podcast, just say, hey, my name's blah, 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 and I like grilled cheese sandwiches on a hot day. Sue me. Tell us, leave us a comment, tell us an interesting fact. And it doesn't have to be too interesting. You don't feel like we're not going to judge these. Oh, maybe we should judge these. Wait, we could kind of. Okay, we will judge these. So think carefully about what you're going to tell us. Tell us an interesting fact about yourself. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. And I can't wait to hear what you comment on this episode.
Yeah.
My name is Christian. Of course, joining us today was Amanda. Tune in next week because Amanda is going to get so high on life too.
That's right.
When I read that in real life, I laughed. If you hear it and you laugh, that's cool. Amanda, what's playing us out today?
Well, we're going to be listening to the Anthem of the Republic from Menace, or like how I'd like to say, Menace. All right, goodbye.
Yeah, nothing goofy about that game. The Anthem of the Republic, okay? Yeah. And you better know what the Republic is and what it stands for, because
that's right.
That's gonna come up in the test.
They're coming.